Now, Sports Talk with Broads. Here's Hunter Brody.
Gross. 5-0 lead. Opening day. You're beating up Jacob deGrom. Pretty damn good. Alec Bohm, opposite field power. Nick Castellanos right before that gets a double. So the two guys that we've been wondering, what are we going to get? They explode nice and early. Trey Turner triples. Brandon Marsh triples. Guys are scoring left and right with Aaron Nola on the bump. And poof! It's gone! Are you kidding me? How in the world do you allow 9 runs in the 4th inning? It's frustrating. We've seen Aaron Nola hit this wall before. Now, to be clear, I'm not telling you Aaron Nola stinks. I'm not going to big-time conclusions right away. They had a really long season last year. Aaron Nola and Zach Wheeler were in positions that they are not used to because they went deep into the postseason. It's a quick turnaround. We're already talking about opening day. I thought the season ended 4 weeks ago. We snap our fingers, and here we are breaking down baseball again. It happens very quickly. The velocity sitting around 91, 92. Not that Aaron Nola's a fastball machine high 90s, but he could be more 94. He can sit more 94. Full disclosure, the best show ever went up against the Phillies game today. So for the first 2 hours of the game, which we thought the game was going to move a little quicker, but damn, it did feel like it kind of went a little slow there because all the damn runs. But we had to watch the game on mute. And I remember looking over at Tyrone going, dude, imagine playing Major League Baseball and seeing a 92-mile-per-hour fastball. Now, Aaron Nola has succeeded with this low velocity. His pitch sequence when he's dialed in is sensational. Pitch sequence, fooling guys. There's nasty, nasty stuff with that curveball that gets going. You get fooled, you get buckled, you get lost because Nola's grooving. But, you're used to 99, 98. These guys throw hard as hell. 92, it's kind of unfathomable sometimes just thinking about it. So that's why when he's not on, it's a little bit easier for him to fall off a cliff because you can't accidentally blow 99 by somebody and then swing it. You can get away with mistakes when you're throwing 100, when you're bringing the heat. It's not the case when you don't have that type of power. But it is what it is. Look, I still believe in Aaron Nola. I'm not freaking out saying, Aaron Nola, classic. This is what the guy always does. He folds. I've seen that, and that's how you know Phillies baseball is back. I think there's a lot we have to factor in. Not a normal offseason for the top pitchers. Not as much time to revamp and settle down and kind of get yourself going again. Well, settle down after the season and then revamp. It took a big difference this offseason. It was a big difference for them. So you have to find a way to adjust. But yeah, we have seen that happen at Nola before, and that's why I look at Rob Thompson and I say, yo, dude, could you have gotten him out of there earlier? I'm not the one to scream at Doc Rivers after every loss. I don't scream at the manager because we talk about how in baseball, the fingerprints of the manager is not on the game as much as fans want to believe. They could swing a couple of games at a 162. So that means every loss, I'm not going to point to Rob Thompson and say, you screwed up. With that said, when it was bases loaded and the Phillies were winning 5-0, Aaron Nola in the game allows a 2-run double. The score is now 5-2. I'm pulling Aaron Nola then. It's opening day. You don't have to ask for your starters to go deep. Generally, you pull them earlier. You look at their pitch count. It just needs to be in a decent range. It was at a decent range. He clearly didn't have it anymore. Soto ended up sucking. And what we're going to watch with Gregory Soto is Jose Alvarado before they fixed Jose Alvarado. So it will be a work in progress. Dave Dombrowski saw something in him Realize I can get rid of Matt Vierling, who, by the way, led off for the Tigers today. But Matt Vierling, Nick Maton, you bring in an arm like that, who, when locked in, can be scary. But you have to get him to that point. There is a bit of the rework involved because there's going to be times where he can't find the plate. There's going to be times where he's putting guys on base for free. He could be a bit of a wild card. So I think they're going to have to go through a little bit of a Jose Alvarado rework with Gregory Soto. So it's not as if he did well. It's not as if Connor Brogdon stopped the bleeding. The rest of the bullpen decisions did end up having a rough time. So if you want to say, well, Broge, you saw him go to the pen and those guys failed anyway. Yeah, they did. But I thought that was a clear and obvious one of, all right, we know how Nola gets. If we can get him out of this game, even though there's a couple base runners on, it's a 5-2 lead. You feel good about yourself heading into the next one when he gets his nod. And we'll figure it out from there. When Robbie steps to the plate and hits a 3-run blast to tie it, I thought it was avoidable. Who knows? Maybe Soto comes in, walks a guy, a single happens. It's 5-4. I don't know if he lets up a home run. Maybe he walks a few guys. Maybe there's a bloop involved. But I don't know if it's a full-on blast. There were some lefties at the bottom of the lineup. Now, Grossman is a switch hitter, so it would depend on who was on the mound. But with Brad Miller down there were some lefties. And I thought, if you're going to make a change and you see Soto warming up, you think lefty. I don't know. Maybe I'm dissecting it too heavily, but I don't think I thought it was pretty clear. And it was even mentioned prior. It wasn't just a hindsight thing. It's game one. You know the history with them. The question becomes, with Nola, though, the contract. Him and his agent and Dave Dombrowski sat around and said, if we can't get something done before the season begins, we'll get to it when the season's over. Fine, I have no issue with that. We spoke to Jason Stark on Wednesday, which we're going to speak to him every Wednesday throughout the season, just like we did last year. Sensational. Love getting his baseball knowledge. He said that the Phillies and Aaron Nola were not even close to the same page. They weren't even relatively close. So I bring that up because how is that going to impact Nola? My guess is it won't. There is something to be said, though, about Aaron Nola possibly being fragile. This is why Aaron Nola, though, is controversial. And I believe in Aaron Nola. I'm not an Aaron Nola ripper at this point. He's going to do this, and he's going to have a bad game, and he's going to have a big lead, and he's going to fall apart, and it will be a collapse. But then he'll go shove 7 innings, 11 strikeouts. He'll give you 10 strikeouts and go 8 innings. He'll give you a complete game shutout. It's just when he's going, it's crazy good. When he has the hiccups, it's mind-boggling because his ceiling is so high when he's locked in. But we got an Aaron Nola type of day today. Not hitting the panic button because there's a lot of positives in this game too. Alec Bohm was so good. I believe in the Alec Bohm power. I believe in the Alec Bohm upgrade offensively. Defensively, you still see the hesitation, double clutch, weird feet sometimes. It is what it is. That's not going anywhere. That's going to be part of the Alec Bohm experience. But I don't find it ironic here. And it's clear and obvious there was a lot of working on his game with K. Long and the approach at the plate that he's never hit a home run off a pitch 99 miles per hour or faster until today. That's because they recognize that there's something to do in this offseason, and he applied it to his game. That thing was crushed. And to be honest with you, I mean, look, it went the other way, and it was smoked, but there's more in that bat. There's more in that swing, in that power. Like, there's more in it. I know that there could be a more barreled-up ball out of Alec Bohm, just to put it in perspective on what I think he could do damage-wise. That looked like an 80% type of thing. And it still traveled that far. That was an awesome day for Bohm. Great to build off of. And same with Castellanos. I'm very, 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 very pleased with them. I'm pleased with Marsh, who's mixing in a triple. He even had a double in there too, did he not? Or JT had the double, triple, and single. Bohm was the 3 for 4, 2 runs, a home run, and 3 RBI. I could have sworn, though, that Marshy had a double in there too. Yeah, he doubled Alec Bohm. Doubled Alec Bohm. So the offense, they'll be good. I know Schwarber went over. Derek Hall went over. Bryson Stott, first couple of at-bats, couple strikeouts. Looked a little overrun, but it's Jacob deGrom. But then he ended up getting a hit in there, so he got his first hit of the season. JT, 3 for 5, incredible. Turner, you see what his speed can do on the base paths. Holy hell. Is that not going to be great? And I like what they're doing with the lineup right now. Let's go over the lineup. If you were here last year, yes, I battled with a lot of you about leading off Schwarber even when Trey Turner was signed. Right now, I'm okay with where they're at because Bryce Harper's not in the lineup. I'm okay with Trey Turner leading off. I just don't want Schwarber and Bryce Harper being next to one another. So I think what should happen, and I know this is long ways away here, but when Bryce Harper returns, he should go to the cleanup spot. So if you want to keep this the same, have Trey Turner lead off, Kyle Schwarber hitting second, keep JT batting third, and then slot Bryce Harper in the fourth spot. From there, you can go Bohm if he's going to explode. Nick Castellanos after that. However you want to break it up from there. But my big thing was you got to make sure Kyle Schwarber still is at the top of the lineup because I'm not okay with Schwarber batting fourth. I'm not okay with Schwarber batting fifth. I want him in the 1 or 2. I want them to get as many at-bats as humanly possible. Kyle Schwarber traditionally takes a little bit of time to get that bat going. And, we've seen it last year. A little bit soft early on, and then kaboom, he just goes on a massive Kyle Schwarber run, and he'll knock 1 billion runs in and hit a lot of nukes. So I don't have to worry about that. But I kind of like what they did with the lineup. I was wondering, they slotted Derek Hall in the cleanup spot. I didn't know if Rob Thompson, being Rob Thompson and trying to instill confidence in his guys, would tap Nick Castellanos in the rear end a little bit and say, hey, you're in the fourth spot. Last year was rough for you. Last year was tough. You know what you're capable of doing. You know what the city expects of you. We've seen what you did your last year in Cincinnati when Dave opened up the checkbook, or really I should say John Middleton opened up the checkbook, and Dave Dombrowski said, come here to Philadelphia. You're going to be one of our power guys. Opening day, you're in that cleanup spot. Do your job. We believe in you. We know you can. You know you can. This is your time. But instead, he went with Hall. Now, keep in mind, last year there was a chance for Derek Hall to get his number called. And what did they do? We need you in the fourth spot. So I'm not surprised totally that Hall got it, but I thought, just because this is what they do, is we stick to our guns, we stick to our guys. Nick, that's your job. When your press conference happened, when you did sign here, you made the joke to Joe Girardi at the time about where you wanted to bat in the order. They went with Hall. I don't know what the leash is for Derek Hall. I know there's a lot of fans that just openly want to say he's going to get 25 to 30. I don't know. I don't know. I think he's got natural power. I think he'll find himself lucking into a bunch of home runs. Like, think about last year's Bohm. Last year's Bohm had 13 home runs. Last year's Bohm doesn't luck into a bunch of home runs. Someone like Derek Hall could luck into more home runs. But you can't just duplicate what Rhys Hoskins did. And I think that there was a bit of like, oh, yeah, it's a no-brainer. Derek Hall can just be fine. I don't know if he can. I think he can hold his own. I don't think he stinks. I think he's going to definitely have some important moments. He's going to have a huge home run. He's going to win you a game because it's the 7th or 8th inning, and he gets a great opportunity. A reliever's on the mound, right-handed, of course, and he crushes it to right field at Citizens Bank Park. That's real. But I don't think it's as automatic as some fell. It's hard. It's hard to step up here. You can't just take what he did last year, multiply it by 4, and think, well, 9 times 4, oh, he's going to have 36 home runs. 36 home runs is a lot. A lot. I do think Trey Turner could hit more than he hit last year, though. The most he's hit in his career one season's 28. I could see him being closer to 28 than he is 21. This offense I'm not worried about. I know they're going to score a lot of runs. I know they're going to cause havoc on the base paths. I do. Marsh is fast as hell. The lineup flips over. Trey Turner, fast as hell. I even like Cave. He took one to the warning track. I think he's going to put some over the fence. I think he'll put some in the stands. We know what Sosa brings defensively. I don't know how that relates because I'm talking about the offense. But I think offensively, they're going to be just fine. It's how does the pitching get going? Right now, Ranger Suarez isn't available, although good news that it seems like he's feeling a bit more comfortable as he's getting his arm as good as it possibly can get. Obviously didn't throw much over the spring. They want to throw Matt Strahm in the 5th spot. He went today. So it's as the arms get going here and get as comfortable as they can in the regular season here, and that's kind of going to tell the story because offensively, they'll be able to score enough runs to win baseball games. And in theory, what Dave Dombrowski did to this bullpen is fantastic. They have a lot of good arms in there. Not the best showing today, but we know it takes a bit for the guys to ramp up a little bit. Ramp up? Vamp up? Ramp up. The hell, man. I could go for a nice cup of coffee, late cup of coffee. Maybe that'll get my brain going, stimulated, if you will. All right, want to rip through some calls? Cool. Me too. Oh, there's Mets fans in the chat. Tough day for Mets fans. Justin Verlander to the IL. The Edwin Diaz news that happened during the World Baseball Classic was a shame. When DeGrom left, Mets fans thought it would be, look, Jacob DeGrom is fantastic, and they know that, but he wasn't able to stay healthy. So when you bring Verlander in next to a Max Scherzer, it's, hey, you're going from a guy who can't stay healthy, even though when he is healthy, he's one of the best to ever do it in Jacob DeGrom, to Justin Verlander. And then Justin Verlander ends up having an issue. These Mets fans right now just can't stay healthy. Max Fried ended up leaving the game when he went to first base and went to cover first base on a play. He left the game. Nuts. Just nuts. All right, we'll rip through some calls. Here we go.
Well, good things out of the way first. I mean, offense looked great. Castellanos, for the most part, he was good. Trey Turner, obviously. Alec Bohm, big man, doing his thing. But, yeah, Aaron Nola looked like the kind of Aaron Nola that I'm used to, where he's looking great and then, bam, brick wall. It was tough, but we'll be all right. I just really hope at the end of this year we're not going to be thinking, Aaron Nola probably should have taken whatever deal the Phillies were offering. I doubt it, but probably not.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not hitting any sort of panic button. The Nola thing is going to get tiresome. I already know it's happening. The Ace thing and, the thing about the contract. And it's going to be fascinating to see how he handles things because it won't be easy if you're at home. And now that the contract thing is public knowledge and this is the year and all that stuff, it's going to intensify. He's always been a controversial player. Him and Rhys Hoskins, both of them together, have heard a lot of negativity as they've been going through this process of being here through the bad times and fighting through the Gabe Kapler era and the Matt Klentak and Odubel Herrera and Mike Alfranco and all these players, Cesar Hernandez. They've been through a lot, so they've seen some tough times, and they have seen some angry Philly fans, and they've been through, that type of frustration before and noise. But knowing that they're not even close on a contract and, him having a little bit of an what's it going to sound like if he continues to go through a bad spurt, but it's at Citizens Bank Park? He's already controversial as it is. Does it get to a new level? Does the noise get even louder? I don't know. I mean, I think it's pretty clear at this point who Aaron Nola is, so I'm not letting myself shift anymore aggressively because of one start. If it's like 9 bad starts in a row, of course, at some point, all this context is going to change my view and tone on what Aaron Nola is. But I've seen Aaron Nola pitch long enough. At some point, there's enough of a window to see who he is. This is part of it. At the same time, you're going to see a lot of great baseball. You're going to see a lot of great pitching. You're going to see a lot of awesome stuff. And, he's not worth this money. He's not worth that money. Rodon, it's all about timing. When you're going to be a free agent, who else is a free agent in that same class? Who's willing to spend the money? Who needs a starting pitcher? Who's desperate? What fan base is demanding it all? Carlos Rodon, for example, got a lot of cash last year. Aaron Nola, you look at his pedigree, you look at his stats, you look at his innings pitched every year, the market says he's worth what I'm sure a lot of Aaron Nola haters say that he's not worth. Just look at these free agents and what they're getting and what the market is and how it's been set. But, I mean, he deserves it because he's going to give you some great outings. It just stinks when these outings happen. And I thought Rob could have got ahead of this one. I really did. Let's take another.
What's up, Broads? I would have loved to start off the season with a very happy and positive call, but hey, I mean, it's the Philly season. The odds are we're going to have plenty of games where we're going to be frustrated, so might as well get it out of the way early. What can I say, man? Aaron Nola, just very, very disappointing performance. I've been on the record saying in the past I think that he's overrated in the grand scheme of things. Most people around the league call him a top 10 pitcher, maybe even a top 40 player in the league. I've never seen that, and it's because of games like this where he's pitching really well, and all of a sudden he runs into some problems, and he just can't get himself out of it no matter what. I mean, if he wants to get paid top end, top 3, top 5 pitcher money in the league, he can't be having games like this.
He'll get paid. He'll get paid. I don't think he's overrated. I think he's rated. I think he's a damn good starting pitcher in this league. No one said he's Verlander. No one said he's Clayton Kershaw. No one said he's Jacob deGrom. He's a damn good starting pitcher in this league. I don't think he's overrated. I think he's rated. He's rated as he should be. He's a damn good starter in this league. I think Zach Wheeler is our number one, regardless on who gets the ball on a day like today. And having a 1-2 punch of Zach Wheeler with Aaron Nola is a really great spot to be in when looking at your baseball team. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I don't think if that's who you are, it should be looked down upon. I don't think so. I really don't. Yeah, he's not Verlander. He's not Max Scherzer. He's not that. Okay, he's not that. There's a grouping of guys that don't make sense, quite frankly. But that doesn't mean that Aaron Nola all of a sudden is talked about too highly. Because wait until he gives you 8 innings and strikes out 9 and allows 2 hits, 1 run, 1 solo shot. That happened in the 4th. Yeah, I knew this was going to happen today, though, and I'm not telling you he's not allowed to be criticized. I'm not saying he's above criticism. I need to see more before I get to that point. Aaron shut up a lot of haters last year for down the stretch answering the bell, for having big wins to help them, even though September did get a little uh-oh. And the backstretch did get us a little nauseous. There was some big important moments, and Aaron Nola was on the bump for those days. This stings, but let's see. Let's see how he responds to it. Let's see how he bounces back before we jump to conclusions that he's overrated. Seems quick.
Okay. First of all, everybody needs to calm the fuck down with Nola. He's gonna be okay. He's the top 15 pitcher in this league for a reason. It's one game. He's gonna be fine. Number 2, Bohm, Marsh, and Nick. Very promising starts.
I agree with you. Very promising start out of those guys. And it's a great situation. Because my fear was, what if Nick goes 0 for 4 game 1? What if Nick ends up having a really rough go before he returns to Philadelphia? They have this series, and then they also go to the New York Yankees to play. What if he comes in struggling a little bit or just starts the season off cold? Does last year creep into the back of his mind? And then he has a tough go, as this season starts to tear into things. Well, he kind of shut that right up. And Bohm looks like he's walking around with just swag. Confidence. Like his head looks huge in a good way. You need that. You need that cockiness. You need that arrogance. It's going to take you a long way. I'm not going to overreact to this one game. But what if his offense is star level? He's hit high 290 before 300, poking it the other way. It doesn't do much for me. Singles. No. If he can hit 28 home runs and hit 296. I mean, seriously, I don't know what he's going to be. I have no idea. I'm not basing this off of one game. But what if his offensive production is ridiculous? Trey Turner hits 300, hits 296, 298. Bohm can do that. He would hit 280, 285, 288. There'd be spurts where he would even hit for a month-long stretch. He'd put together a 300 batting average with 3 home runs or 2 home runs and a bunch of little dinkies the other way. I mean real star ability offensively. Trey Turner, Kyle Schwarber, Bryce Harper. What if he could be that? I don't know. There was definitely a lot of praise when he was a prospect to be able to be a weapon. Are we starting to see that growth? I don't know. I'm just asking. And Jimmy, who called in to rip Aaron Nola, he was the second call. He says in the chat room here that his 3 playoff starts, he's been bad in his last 3. Yeah, Aaron Nola hit a wall at the end of last season. But to be fair, Aaron Nola, going that far, he's never done that before. Never done that before. It's on him now to learn what it takes to get that deep into the playoffs. But you're asking someone who's never competed in the playoffs to go all the way to the World Series and then be fine. Zach Wheeler did too. Remember, Zach Wheeler, where's he at? What's going to happen with this start? Can they look in his direction? Why? Because most people don't pitch that far, and he never got to experience it before. Now you need to recognize and adjust, because at some point, if you want to win the championship, you have to be available, and your arm can't be dead. But for the first time someone gets there, I'm going to say, you know what? Sorry, you suck. Now that you got all the way to the World Series and you had dead arm, I can't go there. I can't go there. We recognized it. That at some point, they didn't have anything left. But I can't knock him for that. Here's what I will say. This is why, and we'll wrap things up on this point. Winning the division is that much more important. You don't have to play a wild card series if you, right? Like 3rd wild card last year. Get to the point where you can chill while other teams beat up on one another. Can you do something like that? Kick it. Now that's one less playoff start for Nola. One less playoff start for Wheeler. That's where it begins. Win the division. I don't want a 3rd wild card spot. Win your division. Get in the position where you're waiting for 2 teams to battle, and then you're waiting for that opponent. That's where I think you can gain an advantage. even though some fans out there will tell you it's bad to wait. I don't think it's bad to wait. All right, everyone. That's what we saw today in our first game. 161 to go. Thank you. See you later.